And happy Tuesday. So it's me again on my way home. Not a lot going on today. I must say that it's been a very trying week so far. A lot of things going on at work. I love these 10-hour days too. Start early in the morning, end kind of late in the evening. Boy, I'm glad I'm not going that way. A lot of traffic. Anyway, turn this crap down. I hate Def Leppard. I wonder how many viewers I'll get today. It'd be nice if I could get some people to push the buttons. Push the like button, push the subscribe button, whatever. My goal is to get to 500 subscribers. Seems like that's, I'm almost there. I've got 475. It'd be nice to have 500 by the time it's all said and done. At least, you know. It's hot in here. I'll turn some air on. Get some air flowing. Yep. Like I say, there ain't a whole lot going on today. It's been kind of a trying day at work, and actually a trying couple of days. We had a bad storms here last weekend, and of course, you know, there were trees down all over the place, and there was some power lines down. I'm sure that, you know, it affected some of the cable lines too. But anyway, we haven't, for the past couple of days at work, well, let's see, Saturday, the storm happened Friday, so Saturday I worked, and I didn't have any power at work. Well, I had power, but I didn't have any internet. No, Wi-Fi was down. So my job requires me to use the internet. It requires me to have access, you know, to Wi-Fi service for my computer, because I upload photos and, you know, I take care of paperwork and things like that. I have to enter dates and all kinds of stuff on paperwork. So the computer system was down on Saturday, which kind of shot my day to hell. I was going to work 6 hours, but I ended up only working 4. So I went home and I didn't think much more about it. And so when I went in Monday morning, I couldn't clock into work because, of course, the computer system was still down. And you know, there was a couple of times when I thought, well, maybe, you know, since the computers are down, I'll just go on home, take a day off. But I decided not to. So we got internet back, and well, the Wi-Fi got fixed at about, I don't know, 9:30 or so. But I had so much backup stuff that I had to do, I didn't really get anything like accomplished, to be honest with you. And I got a few cars inspected, but nothing like what I usually do. So I did pretty good for the rest of the day. You know, it was nice to be able to, you know, look up my work orders and PO numbers and stuff like that. So I still had internet yesterday when I left. Well, I went in this morning and I noticed I couldn't clock in again. Damn it. So apparently the internet, well, it's obvious the internet was down again. And I asked the boss, I was like, you know, how long is this going to take, man? Because I don't, you know, I kind of feel at a loss here. You know, I don't like not being able to do my job proficiently. And I'm not going to be very productive if I don't have some internet. How long is this going to take? And he's like, well, I don't know, it's something we're working on. So I was like, well, all right, well, that's cool. You know, so I had some stuff that I could work on, you know, that I had set up from like the previous days. Yesterday I did a lot of paperwork and did some door decals and stuff. You know, we put decals on the doors when, you inspect vehicles. That's part of my job. So I had a lot of that stuff done already. And I decided to go ahead and get that done. Meanwhile, every hour or so, I was checking back on the internet, to bring up my computer and see if I had any Wi-Fi service yet. Luckily enough for me, I did, finally, at about 11 o'clock today. So I spent the next, I had to go to lunch at 12, from 12 to 12:30, so for the half hour I didn't really do anything but, eat and complain about not having internet. So I spent another, hour before lunch, getting paperwork and stuff together, and then after lunch I spent another hour getting all my door decals and things together, so that I could start inspecting vehicles to move them through, which I did manage to get. About 6 vehicles after lunch I managed to get inspected, but I had to finish up uploading photos and stuff from the previous day, where I didn't get to do all that because I didn't have internet this morning. So I had to take care of all that. And then we had some orders that got assigned, and I had to do what they call a ready ship on those orders, which I had to go in and just make sure that there were no notes, basically, and upload photos. And then I had to track down GPS numbers, which I'd already recorded or had tested. There were a couple that I didn't get to test because I didn't have the internet, so I had to do that as well. So it wasn't a very real productive day today, but I did get a few done. But I had like 20 cars or 20 vans that I had to get ready to ship to the Home Depots to, because the customer wants them, and they'll be coming to get them sometime the next few days. Whether they send drivers or they send haulers, they'll be coming to get those pretty soon. But that's, like I said, it's been a rough couple of days. It's amazing, today's society, how so much depends on technology. I don't know how these people did this job before all this technology. I guess they just, put everything on, handwritten on paper and printed it off and all that. But, entering numbers and things in computers and, making up decals and things like that, you really can't do that by hand anymore. There's really no kind of backup system. So it tends to be a little tedious. It's aggravating, is what it is. It's aggravating as hell. Because I'm ready to roll. I go in, balls to the walls, and then something happens, and, well, here we are sitting at my desk, twiddling my thumbs. But, so, like I said, I managed to get, a few out today. I have some other stuff going on, and my daughter recently had surgery for a gallbladder. I haven't talked to her in a while. I'm pretty disappointed in the way she's chosen to live right now. But I got a call from my oldest daughter, about my youngest daughter, that she was having gallbladder surgery. Apparently she's been living in a hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina, and with some people, and I guess she's not been taking care of herself, so she's not in the greatest of health. And so I get a call from my oldest daughter telling me, hey, look, she's in the hospital and this is what's going on. And I was like, okay. So, I figured I'd hear from her mom eventually. And her mom and I get along. We're on at least speaking terms anyway. I don't know. We're not as angry as each other as we were 15 years ago. But, when you get out of a sick situation like what I was in with her, you have a tendency to be able to heal and kind of develop your own coping mechanisms and more logic about situations that may arise. When I was in Charlotte last week, we were pretty cordial with each other, which kind of surprised me. I didn't see her a whole lot, but we did speak, here and there, and it was pretty cool that, for the kids anyway, we could at least be on talking terms. But anyway, so my daughter, I found out that she's 6 weeks pregnant, and I mean, if you do the math, I know who the father is, or at least I hope I know who the father is. It's not really my it's not really my place to tell her what to do with her body, but I know that she's not really emotionally or responsible enough to take care of a child. So I'm hoping that maybe the father, that I suspect it is, will step up if this is a keeper, or if it's going to be an adoption. I don't know, but she had gallbladder surgery. Was that Monday? She was actually in the hospital for a couple of days. I did get pictures, of what they did. They did like little incisions instead of cutting her wide open. I guess, surgery technology has come along far enough that, they don't have to really open you up like they used to. So it's good that there won't be much scarring, at least not on this case anyway. But I've not heard from her. I did hear that, when she was in recovery, she did quite well, which is pretty satisfying, if you think about it. You don't want your kid to go through any extracurricular pain or anything like that. But I asked, what was the verdict as far as, where she's going to be going after she gets out of the hospital. And she's going back to live with a guy that took care of her for a little while. So it's not bad. He's a good guy. I think he's done remarkably well, and he's definitely got a lot more patience than I have with her, apparently. I don't know. I've talked to her until I'm blue in the face about some things, and she just don't seem to get it. But we are dealing with a child that, well, she's still a child to me. She's 29 years old, but she's still a child to me. She'll always be my baby girl, even though I'm rather disappointed in some of the choices that she's made about her, throughout her life. But I don't want to make excuses for her or tell her that, everything's going to be peachy keen the rest of her life. But, she had an accident back in 2016. She was hit by a car and was in the hospital for a couple of months. And she had to learn how to, walk again. She had to learn how to talk again. She had to learn how to, hold a spoon, feed herself, change her clothes, take a shower. That's an awful lot for somebody, at her age. That time she was, let's see, we're in 25, so that was 8 years ago. But she's come along, fairly well, but she still has a lot of, how can I say, she lost her determination about life or something. I don't get it. She's got no goals. She's got no ambition. I think that she thinks that she can use this accident that she had as an excuse to not have to move forward in life or something. It's quite disappointing when, a dad really wants his child to, be responsible and start taking care of herself, because I've had a talk with her quite a few times. One of the biggest things that I've tried to explain to her is that, your mom and I aren't always going to be around, and you're going to have to make goals and set goals and try to accomplish them, no matter what the stakes are. You got to get a job, and you got to finish school, and you got to get. She has no social skills really, because she's been pretty much since the accident out and been doing her own thing. But what she's learning from the people that she's with, I'm not so sure that's healthy for her, emotionally, physically, or mentally. She definitely has a hard time making solid, concrete decisions about things in her life. It seems like every decision she makes, it's just, whatever makes her feel good. And I'd like to see her, strive to have better things in life and be able to support herself, because she's not always going to be able to depend on people to take care of her. She's 29 years old, and if she has this baby, now of course she's going to be 29 and she's going to have a baby to take care of and herself. So it's going to, kind of, I don't want to say it's going to be a setback, but I mean, if you really look at it, she can't focus on her ability, or her goals. Now she's got to center all her goals around a child. I mean, how far is she actually going to get? You know what I mean? It's just, it's really hard to understand why she doesn't seem like, she wants to improve anything. And it's difficult as a dad, because I tried to bring her up to, do these things. But then again, she was born, a little early, and she's always been kind of behind. When she was like 17, we were just like dealing with a 13-year-old girl. And now that she's 29, it's like dealing with a child, an 18 to 16 to 18-year-old child, because she just doesn't have the coping skills or the mechanisms to use common sense. She doesn't think things through, unfortunately. I really wish that, she would figure it out. I'm really hoping that it doesn't have to be the hard way. This whole experience with her being in surgery and things like that, I'm hoping maybe that, maybe a little light go off in her head that kind of give her some idea about what she needs to do to get ahead. But I'm not so sure that's going to happen. We kind of had a falling out a few weeks ago too. She disrespected me really bad, and I didn't teach her to do that. Well, she said she was sorry the next day, but this seems to be an ongoing thing. You can't just disrespect somebody and tell them that you're sorry and expect them to just drop it. Because they're only going to do that so many times. And I'm not one to do that a lot. I don't, it's going to take me a while, because what she said to me, I didn't appreciate, and it doesn't show me that she respects me at all. I'm the type of person, I try to respect everybody, if they give me a good reason to. I do have some respect for her at this point, but I think the love as a father outweighs anything but I don't know, I can't make excuses for her and allow her to talk to me that way. So I've decided that I'm just, going to watch from the outside in for a little while. I know that when I was in town, she sent me a text message. She wanted to know if I was in town in Charlotte, which I was. And I didn't even respond. I mean, but how is she going to learn? I'm not going to I'm not going to allow somebody to talk to me that way and then, just on a whim or on a beckoning call, pick up the phone and call or text or anything like that. It's not going to happen. But I know she wanted to see me, but I just don't think I'm ready for that. I love her, I do, but I'm not ready to be the dad that walks back into a situation that, was painful enough I needed to get out of it in the first place. Excuse me. I had some greasy food at lunch today, so I got a little bit of heartburn going on. Of course, I don't have anything to drink here either. So anyway, then she went to my girlfriend and texted her and asked her, were you in town? And of course, she understood that, I think she kind of understood what the situation was, so she didn't really say anything else. She hoped I was having a good time with my oldest daughter and little Colston, my grandson, and my granddaughters, which was, that was pretty noble of her. But I mean, was she saying that out of pure sincerity, or was she saying that because she just wanted to, get me on the phone or whatever? And that remains to be seen, because I haven't talked to her in about a month now, I guess. She just, I don't know. It's like she finds these people. She always seems to attract people that, can take advantage of her real easily. Which I don't really want to get into that, but I really wish that she would make better decisions. And I really wish that she could understand, where she's failing at life and kind of do something about it. Have some kind of a determination to make her life better, or more responsible or something. I did a lot of stupid shit when I was a kid, but who better to teach a child about things than somebody that's been there, done that. And I hate to use that term, been there, done that, but it's true. I've been through a lot of shit in my life. I've made a lot of bad decisions. I've done a lot of stupid shit. I've said a lot of stupid things, but it's not anything I taught her. I always had to teach her and her sister, how to process and think about things before they act. It's not always your actions. It's maybe sometimes even your reactions to things that get you in trouble. I know that she thinks that, she's an adult. Well, she's 29. Of course she's an adult, but because of the accident and because that, she was a preemie, and she's always been a little behind, she's not capable of making adult decisions. And when you're 29 years old and then you have an accident like she did, and it kind of set her back, a few years. Like I said, she was just a baby pretty much again, after it. And she had to walk and learn how to do that. She had to, talking, she had to learn how to talk, and she had to learn how to think. Now she's not very quick on her toes, so to speak. I think it's because she doesn't have any social skills. She's never really had to do anything other than scream and yell to get her way. So she's not good at, dealing with such adult situations, and things like that. And I'm afraid that, that's going to come back to haunt her one day. I mean, I'm sure it is. I just hope that, it's not another event where she almost loses her life again, to kind of go, hey, dummy, wake up. it's hard to watch her go through as a parent. But you know, I can't hold her hand all her life, and neither can her mother. You know, I think that, I mean, if you want to get down to brass tacks, I think her mother, you know, enabled her to do what she's doing, and by not making her, you know, succeed, or not making her do things for herself, and not making her take responsibility for her own actions. You know, the biggest thing that I want her to get a job. And she's like, oh, you know, Daddy, I got a job. Well, you don't really have a job till you have a freaking paycheck. You know, you're not bringing home any money, you know, so you're not working, you know. And she's like, well, and it's always an excuse, you know, it's always, well, you know, I've got the job, I just got to get my Social Security card, or, you know, I have to go through a background check, and blah blah blah. And, you know, I don't need excuses. I need you to do. Don't tell me what you're gonna do. Just fucking do it. You know, be a responsible person. If you want people to quit treating you like a child, then don't fucking act like one. You know, that seems to be one of the hardest things that children. Not children, even young adults have a hard time with today is, you know, they don't fucking do. They just, you know, they make excuses and they say, well, I'm going to do that, you know, but they don't. Just don't tell me that you're going to do something and then not fucking do it. If you're going to do it, then, you know, come up with some kind of a game plan, or, you know, have some kind of an action plan. You know, they got the road closed off up here. Jeez. It's like I'm going to go through a traffic jam here in a minute. But, you know, the point is that if you're going to do something, do it. Don't butter it and, you know, sugarcoat it and tell me that, you know, it's done and then it's not done, and then you got to make excuses to me as to why it's not done. You know, if you don't plan on doing it in the first place, then don't fucking tell me you're going to do it. You know? And I mean, you know, she's always, I don't know, she just seems to think that she can't do anything. And I think that's because apparently this doctor that she was seeing in Charlotte, you know, was telling her that, you know, and telling her mother that she wasn't going to get any better. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, they didn't really give her any reason to try to, you know, be more responsible or make plans for, you know, her future, you know, by accepting that, you know, she's gotten as well as she's going to get, or at least that's what I heard anyway. That's what I was told. But, you know, when you have these people that, you know, have Down syndrome, or, you know, aren't, you know, have learning disabilities or whatever, and they're working at grocery stores, then, you know, your brain injury, what I'm telling her is that her brain injury shouldn't keep her from that. And she understands what I'm saying. You know, she's able to comprehend it, but she doesn't really absorb it. You know, it's like it goes in one ear and out the other. And I said earlier, I've talked till I'm blue in the face with this adult child, and she just don't fucking get it. I don't understand, you know. But it took me a long time in life before I got it as well. So, I mean, I can kind of understand, but, you know, I mean, I always tried to work, and I always tried to, you know, improve my situation and make my life better. Not only for myself, but for my family when I had one. Well, I mean, I've still got a family, but I don't live as a family, you know, with my ex-wife and my kids. You know, that's a totally different story. I'll get into that another day. But, you know, the values and, you know, that I have, and you know, and the determination that I've had in life was taught, you know, from my parents, my mom, more or less than any. But now I didn't always live at home either. So, you know, I was one of those children that grew up in the system. And, I didn't always have like a solid parent. It was always, foster mother, father, or teachers at school, or somebody else like that, an authority figure that were able to influence me to make better choices in life. I had some friends too that would sit down and talk to me every once in a while about where I went wrong in life, and what I need to do to change my situation and make it better. I had people telling me for years that I needed to get out of my marriage, and I finally did, and that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my whole life, because a lot of what I was having to deal with and going through was because of the marriage. And it wasn't so much the fact that I was married that was holding me back. It was the person that I chose to spend my life with. Because she wasn't very responsible. She wasn't very honest. She wasn't very faithful. And, I needed to get away from that, because that affected my life. I couldn't, concentrate on my job. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't go back to school. A lot of times I was even scared to leave the house, because I didn't know who she was going to have in my house during the day or around my kids. So it made it difficult on me to try and figure out, what was going on. It was like my life became a total mystery. I was like a private investigator 24/7. That's no way to live. So, like I said, I was trying to figure all this out, which I finally did. It took a long time, but and I had people telling me for years, you need to get out of that situation. So it's the same thing I'm doing with my daughter. I'm telling her, that she needs to get out of the situation she's in, and start doing for herself instead of having everybody do for her. And her situation hasn't really gotten any better. She's back with a guy at least now that, will make sure that she eats. He'll make sure that she's well taken care of. He will get her out of the house and do activities with her and things like that. He's a good guy. I don't even really know him, but I like the fact that, he cares enough that he will provide a roof over her head, and at least she's in a safe place. Because where she was before, she was in a really bad part of Charlotte in a hotel, living with a guy and a girl. And I don't know these people, but I did hear some pretty bad things, and I'm not really too keen on the type of people they were. But it's like she accepts these people, and I can understand, people want to have friends and things like that, but you got to make better choices. You can't have such a low feeling about, or give people the benefit of the doubt so much that you put yourself in a bad situation, which is exactly what she did. She was sleeping with a married man. I don't know what it was about this guy she liked. Maybe he just, he was a smooth talker or whatever. He's not exactly a, Prince Charming, from what I understand. He's not exactly the most responsible person in the world. He's got a special needs child or two, and it would seem to me that, if I had a special needs children, they would come first before anybody else. But this guy apparently puts other people before his special needs children, and it just really pisses me off. He's lucky. He's really lucky he hasn't met me face to face yet, because he wouldn't like what I have to say. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But so, and there was a possibility that maybe he was the father, and I'm glad that we pretty much on the time frame that we've kind of put this on, 6 weeks. She wasn't around him, in that time frame, so that's good. because that would just be another child he wasn't taking care of. So hopefully, hopefully this whole situation, with these people will be a thing of the past. I don't know, while she was in the hospital, if any of them even, had enough respect for her or cared enough to show up. I'm guessing not, but I don't know. I wasn't there, so I didn't see what, went on. I can't say, yes or no about that. So I'm guessing that I'll hear from her eventually. Again, I'm really surprised she's not on here liking my post or commenting on my video, but I'm sure at some point she'll see it. Maybe this will wake her up a little bit too. I don't know. I can only hope for the best at this point. I can only hope that she was able to understand that when you don't take care of your body, your body is going to fuck up on you and give you problems. I don't know if it was totally because of that. I mean, I know that she's been drinking quite a bit lately too, which she doesn't need to be doing if she's pregnant, that's for sure. But then that goes right back to those responsible decisions. She doesn't think about others. She doesn't think about her, or, well, I don't know. She just doesn't think. So put it that way. You gotta, in order to make good decisions, you really need to sit down. And I've told her, you gotta sit down. You gotta write pros and cons of everything. Write down a list of things that good will come out of something, and then sit down and write the things that'll come out of it that are bad, and compare them and see which outweighs the other. It's almost like a list of life. You gotta figure out like different paths that you want to go down, and which is going to be more beneficial. But she doesn't have the ability to think and do that. It's really kind of sad, but like I say, hopefully this whole surgery experience and this experience, especially the latest one, apparently somebody took advantage of her. I don't want to use the R word because I don't know that actually happened, but there was an incident anyway. That kind of pisses me off. That's, of course, it would piss off any dad, I guess. Or I would hope that it would piss off any dad. There's nothing I can do for her. There's nothing I can do to persuade her to make better decisions. I guess it's something she's going to have to learn on her own, unfortunately. I can't, like I said, I can't hold her hand and make her do anything. She's an adult. Even though she's a child, she's an adult. Her number age, 29, makes her an adult, but her mental capability and her cognitive ability make her, I don't know, 15 or something, I guess. She doesn't have an education. Sometimes when she text messages me, she writes me, which is not very often, but she does. Like if she writes a long, paragraph, I got to figure out myself where the punctuation should go because she doesn't know how to use punctuation. And, punctuation can make all the difference in conversation, where you put the, periods or exclamation points or commas or whatever. It gives it a whole nother meaning, when you use correct punctuation. She doesn't do it. So a lot of times I have a hard time deciphering what she's trying to say or, what the intent is with her when she explains herself and writes it down. And I don't know if even if she got a job, I don't know if she would take it seriously, if she would really put her heart into it, because like I said, she's so used to people doing for her that she won't do for herself. And it's not because she can't, it's because she won't. And I try and give her advice, and I try to point her in the right direction, but she don't get it. I know I've said she doesn't get it about 50 times probably in this conversation, but it's true, and I wouldn't reiterate it if it wasn't. So anyway, other than that, not a whole lot going on in my life. I did hear from my son this weekend. He seems to be doing okay. I don't know if I've mentioned before, my son's in prison. I'm not going to get into what he's in prison for, but he's doing quite a bit of time anyway, and he seems to have this anxiety problem going on, which he says he's been getting medication for and things like that, but he has to adapt and live to the way that people around him do. I really, he lives in a dorm in this prison. I don't really know. I mean, I've seen programs, like Lockup and things like that on TV, cable shows about prison life and what it's like and things like that. I've seen prisons from the outside. I did go through a what they call a final step program when I was a kid. My mom seemed to think that it would be a good idea to take me to a juvenile prison one time when I was young, and I went through this what they call final step program. It's like a Scared Straight type thing. We went to the Morganton High Rise in Morganton, North Carolina, which was a 16-story juvenile prison at the time. And the kids in there ranged anywhere from 12 years old to like 18. But I think there were some special cases where there were some older inmates there from the ages of 18 to like 21 before they went to the adult prison, or because they were getting ready to get out and were coming to the end of their sentence, and they wanted to go through some kind of independent living program, which I guess they offered at that time. But man, that was so long ago. I'm sure that with the mentality of kids today, especially like the millennials and the Generation Z, the attitude has changed completely. Of course, you've got a lot more thug life and things like that going on now too. But he doesn't like the fact that he has to pretty much conform to others because he has no choice. Like I said, it's a dorm environment, and they don't have really any kind of system set up to like watch TV programs or anything. It's just pretty much I guess if you have the right people around you, you can kind of bully your way into watching what you want to or listening to what you want to do or whatever. And he doesn't have any control over that. He doesn't really have any kind of outlet either, because in prison nowadays they've got tablets in prison where you can buy time on them, and you can listen to the radio and watch movies and make phone calls and have video visits and things like that. But it costs money. Prison's not like it used to be, where you have a TV in your room. They provided you cable TV, and you can just watch TV in your room. It's not like that anymore. At least not on the state level anyway. I'm not sure about federal, but in 26 he'll be going to federal prison, which he says he's looking forward to, because they're a lot more. They offer a lot more options about activities and things that you can have. State prison's a little different, especially in a dorm environment like what he's in. So But he looks forward to calling me every week and his mom, and he likes getting updates about people. And I've talked to him a little bit about his sister, which if you've been around a while, I've been talking about her pretty much for about a half hour now. And he doesn't really want to get himself too involved with what's going on with her, simply because it's a distraction for him. And I guess to be distracted is kind of okay, but when you carry emotion with distraction, it makes it difficult, especially for him, because he doesn't really have anybody in there that he can confide in other than the staff or whatever. But those people, they don't give a shit about you. You're in prison and you're just a number to them. You're not a person. You're not you're not human. You're just some kind of animal they lock away, and that's what they get paid to do. Plus, they're not allowed to get close to people there. It's not ethical, so to speak. But anyway, I know that he always looks forward. He's very humble now, more so than he used to be. I know that he appreciates it when I do things for him. I provide phone time, and I provide money for him to get 5 minutes or packages or whatever on his tablet, so he's able to listen to the radio. He's able to watch movies. He's able to make phone calls on the tablet and stuff like that. And then there's a totally different program. It's like an app you put in your phone, and it is called Getting Out. So he's able to send text messages and stuff. Unfortunately, in that app, once he sees photos and stuff, they disappear. But there's two apps I use. One is Text Behind. The Text Behind app, he doesn't have to have like money on his account or whatever to read what's on there or anything like that. So he does pretty good. That's my neighbor. Mrs. Him is what I call her. Mrs. Him. Anyway, but yeah, he's he gets these packages like every quarter. They have care packages, kind of like just a list of stuff that he wants, and he sends me a list. It usually costs me around $100, maybe sometimes a little more, depending on the availability of the items that are on his list. I never thought for 1 minute that he's 33 years old, and I never thought for 1 minute that once he left home that I would have to be supporting him again at 33. I mean, I guess I don't have to, but as a father, I can't not support him, or at least give him something to look forward to. It's the little things that I do for him that kind of keeps him going, and the fact that he is able to call us as me and his mother, that gives him something kind of to look forward to as well. He's got kids, so he's going to grow up. They're going to grow up not knowing him or him knowing them. So the contact that he does have with his mother and I, he's able to learn about them and things like that. But anyway, okay, guys. So guys and gals, I don't know how many of you guys or how many are gals, but this is where I call at the end. I'm not sure when I'll do my next video. Maybe a couple of days. I got some other stuff I'm dealing with that I need to take care of. But thanks for riding home with me today. I appreciate it. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button, at least let me know I'm getting out and people are listening, or subscribe. It'd be nice to have some more subscribers. Like I say, my goal on my subscribers is 500. I think I've got 475 or 476 or something like that. So if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, that's cool too. I don't really care about being monetized to do this. This basically is just an outlet for me. I don't ever see any comments. Nobody ever comments. They don't tell me my hair looks like shit, or change my glasses, or smile more, or talk louder, or anything like that. So I don't know how my videos actually sound until I get in the house and publish them, make them public or whatever. But like I said, if there's any of you guys that are hanging around since I first got on, I appreciate it. I really do. It's nice to, kind of have somebody different to chat with, even if I don't get any response. I'm hoping that maybe some of the things that I've talked about, if people are struggling with the same things that I'm struggling with, children or whatever, or adult children, I can help them in some way, let them know that they're not the only ones going through it. But as I say, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you on the next video. Until then, be safe, love each other. All right, see ya.